Hey everyone, I'm Matt Fontana, ecosystem lead at Streamr, and today we have two very special guests. We have Henry and Yev, both co-founders from Streamr and DIMO respectively, and we'll be getting to ask them some questions about how the projects work and interact and dive deeper on the data story. So yeah, perhaps we could start with Yev. Would you like to describe DIMO and what it does?
Yeah, so DIMO is a Web3 connected vehicle platform, essentially. And what we do is allow users to connect their car and start collecting their own data with a focus on allowing them to get more information about their car, but also allowing them to use that data to earn additional passive income, as well as allowing them to join other applications such as car sharing, or for example, car rental, or even just getting a better price on their car when they go to sell it.
Awesome. And how about Streamr?
Yeah, so Streamr is a decentralized real-time data transport or messaging protocol, which essentially implements the pub/sub protocol, so it kind of interconnects data producers and data consumers in a decentralized way. And in DIMO's case, for example, the cars that are acting as data sources, they can become publishers on the Streamr network, and the peer-to-peer network takes care of delivering the data wherever it needs to go to interested subscribers or whoever's building applications on top of the DIMO platform and so forth.
Great. And what kind of data specifically are we talking about here when the DIMO device is kind of ingesting the data?
So the data that most cars have a network called a CAN bus network, which is a quite old, over 30 years old, multicast protocol that all the devices inside the car, which is in this day and age almost hundreds, use to communicate. And what we're doing is essentially plugging into the car and starting to collect that data. And this could be everything from what is the weather outside. Most cars have very accurate weather sensors. To, for example, is it barometer temperature and whether it's raining, and that's kind of some passive data available. We also collect what cell networks are around. So, for example, finding out what exactly where is cell reception good, where is cell reception bad. And besides all that, we also collect the state of the car, which is the most important probably to the user themselves. So we collect where the car is, we track how fast you're going, what's your fuel level, what's the health of your battery, which is quite important for EVs, and obviously any other information that might be relevant about the health and the long-term longevity of a car, down to how many misfires your gas car engine has per day, or if it's seeing any errors that maybe your manufacturer even doesn't want you to know about.
Awesome. And what kind of security properties are you after in terms of the data pipeline coming from the car to the sort of end consumer of that data?
So yes, that part is actually very important. Before this I worked for 10 years in doing this in the Web 2 way, and most connected vehicle solutions out there have, I would say, not the greatest availability of the data, and it's very, very often that even if you subscribe to one of the existing platforms, you will either get bad quality or it won't be available when you need it. So one of the reasons we're working closely with Streamr is Streamr is completely decentralized, which increases availability to basically a point where it's very hard to not get the data that you're looking for. And for a lot of use cases that we plan to develop, this is really crucial to make sure that the data is available. In the future, when we get to self-driving vehicles and digital infrastructure on the street, not having availability means it just can't work, right? And I would say there's, on one end of this, you have a very centralized solution to controlling these things, and it's very hard to do anything in between until you get to a point where it's completely decentralized and you can be sure that things can fall back and fail over, and that critical pieces of the world continue to run.
Right, and I think one particularly cool feature about the DIMO hardware is the hardware security module.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have a like a hardware wallet in the device itself, and that is used to sign the data before broadcasting it to the Streamr network. So you kind of have this end-to-end cryptography going on, where the data is signed at the source, and it can be always attributed to that particular hardware, which makes it very secure. And of course, you also have the end-to-end encryption going on there, that the data can be encrypted at the source, and through a key exchange with the subscribers, they can then obtain that key directly from basically from the device, right? And you get quite high level of control over your own data and so forth due to that.
Okay. And maybe for the fans of Streamr that were there at the beginning around 2017, they might have seen a lot of car videos
Right.
and a lot of vision towards this use case. And maybe you can speak to kind of why you had that intuition towards this vertical.
Around that time, like IoT was kind of a hot topic, and we were thinking about, okay, what type of devices we're most excited about, or what makes it kind of easy for people to understand the narrative of what's possible with a protocol like Streamr, plus the connectivity that you can have in this IoT space. And we, for a long time, we kind of carried around this car example, and we even did some pilot projects with Bosch and with HPE around the kind of connected car space, and clearly that was something that was resonating. But finally, the DIMO guys are doing it the way in which it should be done, so that the people are in control by kind of opting into this data sharing and the platform, and earning the rewards from anything that follows, whether it's like through monetization of that data, or added value through an insurance company subscribing to the data and granting you a discount for responsible driving, proven by the data that you're producing, and so on. So there's a lot of opportunities to bring benefits to the end user, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe if you could speak to the stakeholders that kind of encircle the data, whether that be developers, car manufacturers, insurers, as Henry mentioned, like who are the interested parties that really can benefit and make the data valuable?
Yeah, that list is very, very long. But yeah, we'll start with insurance companies, for example. So today, most of companies provide you some kind of a dongle that you can plug in. It's a single-use product that you can only use with one company. With DIMO, you can use it for the insurance use case. But then also at the same time, we've had many companies reach out who are interested in cell coverage data, because they're currently paying somebody to essentially drive around with that single use once again to find out where cell coverage is good and where it's bad. And then we get into the next version, which is with EVs. We're starting to see the manufacturing speed pick up significantly, and people really want to get a higher level of confidence in terms of which batteries are going to last, right? Because a car is not like a phone; it's going to be on the road for 10, 15 years. So, also people who are just looking to get a better understanding of which car should I buy next, right? And then we also have our favorite use cases, like I said, about being able to, have this really go from this world where the car is this, kind of a pain that you have to maintain, to something that earns you money, right? And you can, for example, in the future, using smart contracts, use this data, which a developer can trust, for end-to-end encrypted and identifiable to a specific car, to instead of parking it on the street, put it up for rent, and somebody being able to rent that car quite literally via a smart contract, right? So those are kind of the three main areas at the moment. But once again, it's a car is a very expensive asset, that probably the second most expensive asset most of us have ever bought, and the amount of data that is available and passively collected from it is just going to increase over time.
And a little bit like borrowing from Elon Musk's hype, like maybe through these kind of patterns, a car could actually be turned into an asset instead of being a liability that it usually is, like, or an appreciate. Well, maybe it's too much. I don't buy into that hype fully, but cars could become like this appreciating, or at least yield generating assets instead of just losing value over time.
Exactly. I think most people would be extremely happy if they were able to, earn an additional $30, $40 a month from, from doing nothing additional to their car except, joining a Web3 project to enable this new kind of data collection.
Right. And by enabling like car sharing, you could earn quite a lot. Actually.
Exactly. Yes.
Imagine what you pay to like car rental companies when you go on holiday. So, enabling that is quite exciting.
Yeah, and I'm also very excited about the human-to-human aspect there because it truly enables the reputation-based and peer-to-peer aspects of Web3 that I think are so important in the future, and even enables. We're seeing now people who are interested in what if I bought 10 cars and started renting them out, and that's something that just wasn't available to an average person before, but now it could be.
Right.
So, which is very exciting.
Absolutely. And who owns that data, and who is benefiting from that data at the moment?
So at the moment, DIMO is still only a year into this, but we're at the moment just helping the user collect their data. This year, though, we are going to start building some SDKs and the ability for users to start monetizing their data via Streamr, and also some public goods that people can use via Streamr. So, but to answer your question, the user always owns the data, and really Streamr are here just to help you get the data from where it is to where it needs to go, and to kind of help the user do what they need to.
Okay, so as a developer, I can come in and start to build applications on my car's data, or perhaps all of the cars in my area, or cars of a certain manufacturer. These sort of use cases get unlocked because of this permissionless approach that you're taking.
Exactly. And the permissionless is one part of it. The other really big part is there's 140 different manufacturers out there. So, and historically you would have had to build a app for just one car brand, right? And that just does not scale. And most people, even if you have two cars in your household, they're not going to be the same exact car. So between making the data permissionlessly accessible by a developer, but also giving them access to any make and model, I think eventually moving into even motorcycles and any other means of transportation, I think that's going to be the key part. In 10 years that I've been doing this, the solution always breaks down when you have a car more than one brand, and at that point it becomes infinitely complex to try and support each one or integrate with each OEM directly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you guys have the device, the hardware, and also you have software connection for some brands. And what's the difference?
Yeah. So car companies are very good at building cars, but it takes time to get hardware built and into every car on the road. So we have a hardware solution which which has a secure element and really provides that end-to-end user-owned data pipeline. It also allows us to support really any car made pretty much since 2008. And then for newer cars, we have another way to connect, which is through your OEM. Now, you obviously don't get the same benefits of decentralization and end-to-end security, and your OEM can still censor the data to an extent. But what we found, is it's an easy way for people to get started as they buy into the network and understand its value, and then they can in the future upgrade to the hardware. And in the next few years, we're hoping to talk to Bosch again and make DIMO and the Streamr client something that's available from the factory.
Right. So it would be embedded in the car, like from the start. Yeah.
Yes, and that will truly enable somebody to have more options at the end of the day, right? Being able to not just be locked into your OEM solution, but being able to get into a car and use another solution. A simple example being you don't have to use iMessage. You can you can use other messaging protocols, right? Whereas today with a car you sort of have one option for everything, and changing that to be I want to use a different kind of connectivity, or I want to collect my data, and enabling those I think is going to be critical as for newer generations of users who really want that optionality and want that choice that is not available today.
And on-chain, you guys represent a connected car as an NFT, right? You mint an NFT when somebody signs up.
Yes, exactly. So we've built kind of essentially a registry for all of the assets that are within DIMO. So we mint one for the car, we actually mint one for the device, and you're able to link. And that's what allows us to link them together. And in the future, one exciting part there is I would love to be able to represent many of the modules in the car as assets that are attached to this vehicle, because, for example, a self-driving car usually has 4 different cellular connections. So giving that redundancy and also being able to link them all together is very important. But yes, the user essentially is able to claim the device or mint their vehicle in a decentralized way, and they are full owners of it. DIMO or no one else can take it away from you, unlike your OEM login. And
And here we are talking about a device, but we actually have one here. Should we show it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the latest version or earlier prototype, but you're the one untethered, so we can cut away this part while waiting for Matt to come back. Or did you bring one with you?
I have one in my. Well, no.
Get this clunky part out, actually. Maybe you could ask me that question again, Henry.
Yeah. So here we are sitting talking about a device, but we actually have one here.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce the device and how would a user kind of start using it?
Yes, so this is our first DIMO device that we developed with together with AutoPi, and it plugs into the OBD port on any car. It is much different than most OBD devices you've probably seen on the market today. Once again, those are usually low power and very embedded devices. This one is actually using a full ARM CPU, so we've got 4 A53 cores. It has a LTE modem, and it has a lot of expandability for both Ethernet and USB. So in the future, you could use it to plug in a video camera and stream video as well from the car. And even more fun use cases like it has an HDMI port, and being able to install RetroPie and play Mario 64, for example, on it when you're not driving. But besides that, it also has the secure element that Henry mentioned. That's what really gives it identity, and allows us to, allows you to claim the device completely in a decentralized way as well by just getting a signature from the device.
Okay, so it's a bit more of a hub rather than just a raw data transport device.
Correct. And in the future, we can also install additional new software on it. So we're gonna, for developers, allow them to start building, Dockerized applications that a user can install on their device, which could be anything from, an additional mapping module for video, or you want to, for example, play games, right? And allowing developers to not only control the vehicle, but also install additional applications on this device is something I'm very excited for.
Will I be able to play Mario Kart with the car in front of me if we're stuck in a traffic jam?
We've actually been thinking about that use case.
Okay.
Teslas are quite fun in that, in terms of enabling those features, and we certainly don't have the density to enable something that fun today. But in the future, we've talked about walkie-talkie or being able to play Mario Kart with somebody, but all those use cases are certainly possible with this device. And I don't think there's anything else actually on the market quite like this that is quite this open and quite this powerful.
Wow. Yeah. There's so many different directions that we can go down. There's the raw data pipeline.
Mm.
There's also the vehicle-to-vehicle communication that will inevitably unlock. There's just so much opportunity and value to be had from this sort of kind of neutral level playing field where cars can interact with each other, and it doesn't matter if they're a BMW or an Audi or whoever. It's more kind of driver-centric rather than manufacturer-centric, if I understand correctly.
Well, that's true. I would even say it's not so much driver-centric as just kind of human-centric, right? I've seen it, for example, since coming here over the last week, Audis and BMWs are quite good at talking to each other, same as Teslas. But Europe is much better at leading the way with things like that. But than we are in the U.S. I think most GM and Ford products are still not quite communicating with each other. But allowing them to communicate across brands is, I think, where the real optimization and the flywheel, as we say in the U.S., will kind of start spinning up as and as this user-owned side of this protocol.
It was fantastic to have you drop by here in Europe and get some FaceTime with you as well, and doing this bit of an ad hoc chat here for everyone to see. So that was great.
Yeah, we've been working together for is it over a year or so now?
Yeah, just a little bit over a year, and we Streamr were one of the first project we started working with, and it's fine. I'm finally excited to start leveraging you guys more, especially on the developer platform side, which we're going to be launching this year, and without the functionality that Streamr has made available, it would be very hard for us to do what we're trying to do. So it's very exciting just in the Web3 space, starting to see the infrastructure and the use cases and kind of the technology getting to this point where these new possibilities for not just DeFi or those use cases, but ones that affect the real world and affect users in everyday life.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very validating for us to see as well these sorts of physical, real things that are making their way into the world and creating real value. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you here in the Zug office, in the Streamr office, and look forward to doing more cool stuff together.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Thanks for joining.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.